All right, you book nerds, strap in. Because today, we're diving headfirst into the goddamn world of books.
Hell yeah.
We've got a shitload of material to cover, from those ancient clay tablets to those
Oh.
fancy-ass e-readers. So
Mm.
grab a drink, get comfortable, and prepare to have your mind blown.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do this.
Let's cut the crap and get right to it.
Yeah.
What the hell even is a book?
All right.
Seems like a simple question, but
Yeah.
with all this digital mumbo-jumbo,
Mm.
nowadays it's gotten kind of blurry.
You're not wrong. Is a PDF on your phone a book?
Right.
Is an audiobook a book?
Yeah.
Where do we even draw the line? It's a surprisingly tricky question.
So what's the official word? Is there some kind of book police out there laying down the law?
Well, even big shot organizations like UNESCO struggle with a concrete definition.
Really?
They recommend thinking of a book as a non-periodical printed publication with at least 49 pages for statistical purposes.
49 pages. That seems awfully specific. Why the hell 49?
It's all about distinguishing a book from pamphlets and other short-form stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, that definition feels pretty limited. A historian named James Raven offers a broader perspective, describing a book as any portable, durable, replicable, and legible means of information dissemination.
So that could include everything from ancient scrolls to, like, today's newspapers?
Exactly. It opens up a whole new way of thinking about what a book can be. Suddenly, we're talking about ancient scrolls,
Wow.
those knotted up Inca quipus,
Yeah.
even your grandma's collection of newspaper clippings.
Wow.
It's a much more inclusive way to approach the concept of a book.
Damn. That's pretty mind-blowing. So books been around for a long-ass time. Let's rewind the clock and talk about those early book-like things our ancestors were messing around with. What were they using before paper and printing presses?
Way back in the day, people were scribbling on anything they could get their hands on. Clay tablets,
Really?
wax tablets,
Oh, wow.
even freaking animal hides. Imagine trying to write a novel on a cow skin. Talk about a pain in the ass.
Clay tablets. Sounds messy as hell. Did they at least try to make them look pretty?
Some of them were pretty intricate, especially those used for cuneiform writing. But let's not forget those OG long-form content kings, the scrolls.
Oh, scrolls. Like those things they dramatically unroll in movies with epic music.
Exactly. Made from papyrus, parchment, or paper. Scrolls were all the rage in ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, you name it. They were perfect for recording everything from epic poems to government records. Imagine unrolling a scroll hundreds of feet long just to find one specific detail.
Oh my God.
Talk about a pre-Google search nightmare.
Okay, so how did we go from scrolls to those rectangular things we call books today? Was it some genius inventor who revolutionized the game?
The codex, that's the hero of our story, it's basically a bunch of pages bound together on one side, usually protected by a cover.
So like a notepad, but way fancier.
Pretty much. The codex changed everything. It was way more economical than a scroll because you could write on both sides of the page.
Right.
Plus, it was compact,
Yeah.
easy to search, and could be hidden easily. Perfect for those early Christians spreading the word and dodging persecution.
Sneaky and efficient. I like it. But when did these codices start looking like the books we know and love today? Were they all fancy and illuminated like in those medieval movies?
During the Middle Ages, the codex evolved into what we call manuscripts. And yes, some of them were incredibly ornate,
Wow.
filled with beautiful calligraphy and illustrations.
Manuscripts aren't those super rare and valuable, like
Mm.
worth more than my entire book collection put together.
You're not wrong. Back then, each manuscript was painstakingly handwritten and copied by scribes,
Oh, wow.
often on parchment or vellum. These guys were the medieval rock stars of calligraphy,
Right.
spending months or even years to create a single book.
No wonder those things are so damn expensive. So when did books finally become accessible to the masses? Was it the printing press?
You got it. Printing technology changed the game. It all started with woodblock printing in ancient China.
Really?
Those guys were printing on textiles and paper centuries before Europe caught on. Talk about being ahead of the curve.
Woodblock printing. Sounds like carving a giant stamp for every single page. What a pain in the ass.
It was incredibly labor-intensive,
Right.
but it paved the way for what was to come. And then in the 15th century, bam,
Yeah.
Johannes Gutenberg drops the mother of all inventions, the printing press with movable type.
Gutenberg, that dude was a legend.
He was a visionary, no doubt. Instead of carving whole pages,
Yeah.
he created individual letters and symbols that could be arranged and rearranged to create any text you wanted. Talk about a game changer.
And it led to cheaper books, right?
Absolutely. Printing became faster and more affordable,
Gotcha.
which meant more people could finally get their hands on books. Knowledge and literacy spread like wildfire thanks to Gutenberg's invention. It's crazy to think he did it all without a computer or even electricity.
So those early printed books, the ones from before 1501, what do you call those?
Yeah.
That they're worth a fortune now.
Those are called incunabula. They're incredibly rare and valuable collector's items for sure.
Incunabula. Sounds like some fancy-ass pasta dish.
Yeah.
Incunabula Alfredo. Anyone.
Huh. I'd try it. But seriously, printing technology kept evolving from there. Steam-powered printing presses in the 19th century could churn out over 1,000 sheets per hour. Then came those fancy typesetting machines like the monotype and linotype.
Oh, wow.
They could set thousands of letters per hour, making printing even faster and more efficient.
So by then, books were everywhere, right? Like
Yeah.
even your weird Uncle Morty had a few lying around.
Pretty much, libraries were overflowing with books,
Right.
and information became more accessible than ever before. Then came the internet and electronic publishing,
Yeah.
which blew the doors wide open for information sharing.
Speaking of electronic publishing, let's talk about how books are made in today's world. I bet it's a wild ride compared to those old school methods.
It's a whole different ballgame, from design and layout to the nitty-gritty of printing and binding.
Right.
The modern bookmaking process is a fascinating blend of technology and craftsmanship, but I think we've covered enough ground for now. Let's take a break and dive into the modern bookmaking world in part 2.
Sounds good to me. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back to uncover the mysteries of how those books actually get made.
All right, let's get back to it. Last time we left off with the evolution of printing. Now let's dive into the modern bookmaking process. It's more complicated than you might think.
Yeah, it's not like those old timers just had to slap some ink on paper and call it a day. It's going to be a lot more to it these days.
Oh, absolutely. It's a whole different ballgame now. Creating a book involves a whole team of people. Authors, editors, designers, printers, binders. It's like a symphony orchestra. But instead of music, they're creating a symphony of words and images.
Okay, let's break it down. First things first. Design. How do they make those pages look all nice and organized? It's not just about slapping words on a page and calling it a day, is it?
Not even close. Book design is an art form. It's about making the content flow well, choosing the right typography, incorporating illustrations, and creating a visually appealing and engaging reading experience. It's about making those words jump off the page and grab the reader's attention.
So it's like interior design, but for books.
Yeah.
You got those book designers out there picking out the perfect font and making sure the chapters are spaced just right.
You could say that. And just like a house needs a solid blueprint, a book needs a well-planned layout.
Layout. Like they're arranging words on a page. Seems pretty straightforward.
It's more than just arranging words. It's about structuring the entire book. You've got the front cover, the back cover, and all that jazz in between. The front cover is like the book's face. It's got to be eye-catching, with the title, author's name, maybe a catchy tagline to lure you in.
And the back cover, that's where they put those cheesy blurbs from other authors, right? Like, this book will change your life and all that crap.
Exactly. It's a marketing tool for sure. You'll also find barcodes, ISBN numbers, and other publishing details back there. But inside the book is where things get really interesting. You've got the front matter with the foreword, dedication, table of contents, all those bits that set the stage for the main event.
Hold up, what the hell's a foreword? Is that like a fancy word for an introduction?
It's an introduction, but it's written by someone other than the author. It's like having a celebrity endorse the book.
Okay.
Lending their credibility and giving the reader a different perspective on the author and their work.
Ah, so it's like a stamp of approval from some big shot author or expert. Makes sense.
Okay.
But let's get to the meat of the book, the actual content. How do they organize all those words into chapters, sections, all that good stuff?
That's all part of the layout, too. It's about breaking up the text into manageable chunks so readers don't get overwhelmed. Think of it like pacing in a movie. You need those pauses and shifts in perspective to keep things interesting. And then you've got the back matter with the index, glossary, and all the stuff that nerds like me geek out over.
Okay, so we've got the layout figured out. And what about the size of the book? Is it some random decision, or is there some secret book sizing society dictating how big or small a book should be?
Believe it or not, there are standard sizes for books, and those standards have a surprisingly long history. You've got your folios, quartos, octavos. It sounds like A bunch of Harry Potter spells, right?
Seriously, folios, quartos, like some magical incantations. What the hell do those even mean?
Back in the day, those terms referred to the actual printing process. A folio, for example, was a book printed on sheets of paper, folded once,
Right.
creating 2 leaves or 4 pages. A quarto was folded twice,
Okay.
creating 4 leaves or 8 pages.
Gotcha.
And an octavo, you guessed it, was folded 3 times, making 8 leaves or 16 pages.
So the size of the book was determined by how they folded the paper. That's pretty cool. But why all the fancy names? Couldn't they just call them small, medium, and large?
Those terms were directly related to how much text could fit on each page and how many pages the book would have. It also affected the cost of production, as paper was a precious commodity back then.
Okay, that makes sense. It's all about maximizing space and resources. But let's be real, what makes a book truly captivating? It's got to be the visuals. Pictures, illustrations, all that eye candy.
Wow.
When did that become a thing? Did cavemen have little stick figure drawings in their cave paintings?
Visuals have always been a part of storytelling, even going back to those cave paintings, but things really took off when printing came along.
Right.
Before that, illustrations were mostly hand-drawn, which meant they were expensive and time-consuming to produce.
So before printing presses, every illustration was like an original work of art. Damn, books must have been crazy expensive back then.
You're telling me. But with the advent of printing techniques like woodcuts, engravings, and lithographs became all the rage.
Wow.
It made it easier and cheaper to reproduce images, so books could finally have those visually appealing elements without breaking the bank.
That's pretty badass. It's amazing how technology can democratize art and make it accessible to everyone. Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty manufacturing. What's the deal with paper? Is it all just wood pulp mashed together?
It's more complicated than you might think. There are a ton of different types of paper,
Right.
each with its own unique qualities. Some are smooth, some are textured, some are thicker, some are thinner. It all depends on the desired look and feel of the book.
Whoa, I never knew paper was so complex. There's a whole science behind it, isn't there? So how do they choose the right paper for a book? Is there a secret paper choosing committee?
It depends on the type of book and the publisher's preferences.
Okay.
For example, hardcover books usually use thicker, more durable paper,
Right.
while paperbacks might go for something lighter and more flexible.
Okay, so we've got the paper sorted.
Yeah.
But how do they actually get those words and pictures onto the page? Is it some kind of magical incantation?
Magic. Not quite, but it is a pretty impressive process. These days, most books are printed using a method called offset lithography. It's a bit technical, but basically they use plates to transfer the ink to the paper.
Offset lithography. Sounds complicated. Give us the layman's version.
Imagine you're creating a stamp. You carve out the image or text you want on a surface,
Yeah.
and you ink it up and press it onto the paper. Offset lithography is similar, but instead of carving, they use chemical processes to create the printing plates.
Gotcha.
It's super efficient and produces high-quality images and text even on a large scale.
So that's how they print thousands of copies without losing their minds.
Exactly. It's like a well-oiled machine churning out books day and night. And of course, technology keeps advancing. There's digital printing, which is great for smaller print runs, and on-demand printing, where they can print a single copy of a book just for you.
Wait, on-demand printing? That's wild. So I could theoretically write a book about my cat's hilarious antics, and they could print a copy just for me.
You got it. It's opened up a whole new world of possibilities for authors and publishers. It's like having your own personal printing press.
That's pretty damn amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pages are printed. Now what? How do they turn those loose sheets of paper into an actual book? Is there some magical bookbinding fairy who waves her wand and makes it all happen?
No fairies involved, but it was a pretty intricate process. It's called binding.
Yep.
And it's the art of assembling all those pages and securing them together with a cover.
Binding, huh? Sounds kind of kinky, like something you'd see in a 50 Shades of Grey novel.
Maybe a little. But it's an essential part of the bookmaking process. There are different types of binding, from simple paperback binding to more elaborate hardcover binding.
What's the difference between hardcover and paperback? Besides the obvious one's hard, the other's soft.
Hardcover books are built to last. They've got sturdy covers made of cardboard and cloth,
Right.
and the pages are usually sewn together for extra durability. They're the books you pass down to your grandkids, the ones that become family heirlooms.
And paperbacks, those are the ones you read on the beach and then accidentally leave in your hotel room.
Exactly. They're more lightweight, affordable, and disposable.
Right.
The pages are usually glued together,
Yeah.
and the covers are made of paper or thin cardboard.
Makes sense. Okay, so the book is bound, looking all fancy and ready to hit the shelves. But how does it actually get into the hands of eager readers? Is there some secret book distribution network?
That's a whole other can of worms. Book selling and distribution, it's a complex ecosystem involving publishers, distributors, bookstores, and online retailers. It's a fascinating journey, and one we'll explore in more detail in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned, folks. We're just getting started.
All right, bookworms, welcome back for the final chapter of our book venture. We've gone from ancient scribbles to modern printing presses, but the story doesn't end there.
Nope.
Now we got to figure out how these bad boys actually make it into your grubby little hands. That's right. It's time to talk about the wild world of book selling and distribution. It's a fascinating journey, a complex dance between publishers, distributors, bookstores, and those online behemoths like Amazon.
So let's start with the obvious.
Yeah.
Bookstores. Those places that smell like old paper and broken dreams.
Yeah.
Are they even still a thing? Or has Amazon bulldozed them all into oblivion?
It's tough out there for independent bookstores, no doubt.
Right.
Amazon's got those deep discounts and the convenience of getting a book delivered to your doorstep before you can even finish your second cup of coffee.
Yeah, for sure.
But thankfully, bookstores are fighting back.
Good. I love browsing a real bookstore. It's like a
Oh.
treasure hunt, sifting through shelves and discovering hidden gems you never knew existed.
There's a certain magic to it, a tactile experience you just can't replicate online.
Mm-hmm.
And people are starting to realize that they're supporting local businesses
Yeah.
and craving that unique, curated experience you can only find in a brick and mortar store.
It's like choosing a craft beer over some mass-produced, watered-down crap.
Yeah.
You know you're getting something special, something made with passion and care.
Exactly. And many bookstores are becoming more than just places to buy books.
Right.
They're community hubs,
Mm.
hosting author events, book clubs, poetry slams,
Nice.
even live music.
Wow.
It's a way to connect with fellow book lovers and experience literature in a whole new way.
That's awesome. But let's not forget about those who can't experience books in the traditional way.
Yeah.
Braille, audiobooks, large print editions,
Mm-hmm.
those are game changers for a lot of people, right?
Absolutely. Accessible publishing is crucial. It's about making sure everyone can enjoy the power of books regardless of their abilities. Braille editions open up a world of literature for the visually impaired,
Right.
and audiobooks are a godsend for those who struggle with reading or just prefer to listen on the go.
It's like having a personal storyteller whispering in your ear, bringing those words to life. Technology can be pretty damn amazing when it's used for good.
No doubt about it. And with the rise of ebooks and digital reading devices,
Yeah.
accessibility features are becoming even more advanced. You can adjust font sizes, change the background color, even have the text read aloud to you with text-to-speech software.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible how technology can break down barriers and make reading accessible to everyone.
Okay, let's address the elephant in the room.
Mhm.
Ebooks. Are they the future of reading, or are printed books going to stage a comeback?
It's the age-old debate, isn't it?
Right.
Print
Yeah.
versus digital.
Yep.
Truth is, they both have their pros and cons.
All right, hit me with the benefits of going digital. Why should I ditch my dog-eared paperbacks and embrace the e-reader revolution?
Well, ebooks are incredibly convenient.
Okay.
You can carry an entire library on your e-reader or tablet without throwing out your back.
Right.
Plus, they're often cheaper than print books.
Sure.
And you can get instant access to new releases without even leaving your couch.
Sounds tempting, but I gotta admit there's something special about holding a physical book in your hands. The smell of the paper, the weight of it,
Oh, yeah.
the satisfying feeling of turning a page. You don't get that with an e-reader.
I agree. There's a certain tactile pleasure to reading a printed book
Mhm.
that just can't be replicated digitally. And let's not forget the aesthetic appeal of a well-designed book cover on your bookshelf. It's like a statement piece, a reflection of your literary tastes.
It's like the difference between watching a movie on your phone and seeing it on a giant screen in a packed theater. The experience is just different.
Exactly. Ultimately, it comes down to personal preference. Some people love the convenience and affordability of ebooks,
Yeah.
while others will always cherish the experience of reading a physical book.
And hey, there's no rules saying you can't enjoy both.
Right.
I'm a sucker for a limited edition hardcover.
Yeah.
But I also have like 1,000 ebooks on my Kindle.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about finding what works best for you.
Absolutely. But let's not forget that books in any format have the power to challenge us.
Right.
Broaden our perspectives, make us
Mhm.
laugh, make us cry,
Oh, yeah.
even piss us off sometimes.
Oh, totally. Books can be dangerous as hell, especially to those in power who want to control the narrative. That's why they've been centered and banned throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
People are scared of ideas they can't control.
It's a sad reality. From the Catholic Church's index Librorum Prohibitorum,
Oh, wow.
which banned a whole bunch of books they deemed heretical,
Right.
to the Nazi book burnings, where they destroyed countless works of literature and art.
Jeez.
There have been countless attempts to suppress knowledge and silence dissenting voices.
Book burning.
Yeah.
That's some seriously messed up shit. It's like the ultimate act of censorship and oppression.
It's a powerful reminder that we must always be vigilant in protecting intellectual freedom and the right to access information. Books have the power to change the world, and we can't let anyone take that away from us.
Well said. So we've journeyed through the past, present, and even peeked into the future of books. What's the ultimate takeaway here? What's the big picture lesson we should all be walking away with?
I think it's pretty clear. Books are fucking awesome. They've shaped our history, our culture, our understanding of the world.
Right.
And whether they're printed on paper or displayed on a screen, they continue to inspire, educate, and entertain us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm.
So go forth, dear listeners, and embrace the power of books. Whether you're curling up with a classic novel or diving into the latest digital release, remember that you're holding a key to a world of knowledge, imagination, and endless possibilities.
And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of books. But remember, the exploration doesn't end here. Every time you pick up a new book, you're embarking on a unique journey of discovery.
Keep those pages turning, folks, and keep those minds open. And hey, if you happen to stumble upon a first edition Gutenberg Bible in your grandma's attic, give us a call. We know a guy who can authenticate it for you. Until next time, happy reading.